Good morning. I'm Deepak Chopra and I'm here in Omega right now in Rhinebeck doing a course on the future of well-being. And this morning, as I was going through my literature and going through my journals and my correspondence, I came across some very interesting articles. The first article was about how the words we use and the vibrations of sound can influence the activity of DNA and can actually change the activity of DNA. The second was an article which was in a more obscure journal, and it was about quantum epigenetics. And, I have the references now. And what this article said is that at a very subtle level, quantum information can influence the activity of DNA through an epigenetic phenomenon. Epigenetic means outside the genome structure. So I was reminded of the time that I was writing Quantum Healing in 1988. My book Quantum Healing was published. And although it became a national bestseller and had a very good response, it was, and some good reviews, it was viciously attacked by scientists. And ever since then, many scientists have used that to call me a fraud, a charlatan, and on and on. In fact, you can find all those accusations on my Wikipedia page about how I give false hope, how my teachings are based on quantum quackery. I've even received something called the Ig Nobel Prize, etc., etc. But I've always believed, and this is through my personal experience as a physician, that states of consciousness, how we are feeling, including our emotions, our feelings, our desires, our imagination, but particularly our emotions, create biological effects. So we now know this, of course. If you're angry, your stress levels will go up, or you're feeling hostility, and your stress levels will go up. Fear, same thing. Guilt, shame, mistrust, cynicism will cause biological responses. And these include sticky platelets with high levels of adrenaline, high adrenaline in any case, sympathetic overdrive, and cortisol, which weakens the immune system. So we know that of stress. But now we also know that other emotional states like love will raise oxytocin levels. In fact, that's what oxytocin is now known as, the love hormone. We also know that other hormones will go up, including dopamine, opiates, which also go up with exercise, but whenever you're intoxicated, natural intoxication, including the kind of high that you get when you exercise, but also the feeling of love and compassion and all the emotions that we call divine emotions in the Eastern traditions, such as empathy, compassion, joy, equanimity. So what's happening in our emotional life is definitely influencing our biological activity through hormones. We have recently also seen in our meditators at the Chopra Center for Wellbeing an increase in telomerase levels, which is the enzyme that controls the length of telomeres at the end of chromosomes, and increased levels of telomerase are associated with a long life. As we grow old, telomerase decreases, telomeres decrease, and finally they get to a certain small length when the chromosome falls apart, and that's biological death. So we now definitely have a science that shows the connection between mind, brain, emotions, and immune responses, because many of these neurotransmitters that I mentioned, including oxytocin, dopamine, opiates, serotonin, are also immunomodulators. They fine-tune the activity of the immune system. And of course, now there's this whole new science of the microbiome, which is all the bacteria that live in your gut, in your skin, and how they make metabolites that influence genetic activity. So if your microbiome is inflamed, and it can get inflamed with stress, then the metabolites it produces will cause genetic changes also in the direction of inflammation. You can think of your body as a dancing act between inflammation on the one side, which is harmful and leads to propensity to many diseases, and then homeostasis, which is self-regulation. Okay, so we have the mind, brain, body, genome connection, the mind, brain, genome, and microbiome connection. But now what is interesting is that your thoughts, of course, and your emotions are also expressed in words. So, if I write down something and it's a mean-spirited tweet, for example, and I send it to somebody in China, their blood pressure goes up and their heart rate will speed up and their platelets will get sticky and their sympathetic nervous system will go on overdrive. So, our words, the words we use, the speech we use in both written language and in oral language influences biological phenomenon. Words can heal, words can damage, words can even kill. So, what am I leading up to? I'm leading up to the fact that at a very subtle level, consciousness, which uses words, which uses poetry, which uses music, which uses prayer, which uses meditation, which uses personal relationships and social interactions, these all are involved in somehow influencing gene activity. And the new science for this is epigenetics. And that epigenetics is influenced not only by all the things I mentioned, but at a very subtle level by consciousness itself. So I think it's time to resurrect the idea of quantum healing and go into the mechanisms by which thought, feelings, sensations, images, desires, imagination, rituals, prayers, meditation, massage, changing diet, healthy sleep, the big pillars of well-being, which in my mind are good natural sleep, meditation, movement, emotions, particularly healthy emotions that connect us to life, diet, which is more plant-based and less toxic. That means doesn't have manufactured, processed, refined foods, doesn't have high sugar, is not genetically modified, because genetically modified food will influence the microbiome and then it's metabolized, and food that is not irradiated, and of course lots of hydration. This is the fundamental basis for what I was calling quantum healing in 1988. And I was doing that through my personal experience and my intuitive insights into the fundamental nature of reality, where I saw the connection between consciousness and biology. I made the statement, states of consciousness influence states of biology, a statement ridiculed by many people, and of course by my great friend, and I say this ironically, Richard Dawkins, who made immense fun of me and actually put me in a movie called Enemies of Reason. And that was the basis that, the words quantum were being used inappropriately, and that when I said states of consciousness influence states of biology, it was all hocus pocus and it was all nonsense. It turns out we are now on the frontier of science, which is proving that neuroplasticity, epigenetics are really the basis for a consciousness-based system of integrative medicine that includes the pillars of health I mentioned, but also include everything in the environment. A healthy environment will recycle as a healthy body. So when we pay attention to the atmosphere and recognize that it's our breath that the water we imbibe is our circulation, that the food we eat is our biology, and that our consciousness, which is the fundamental ground of our being, is influencing all these biological phenomena. Then we have the science of quantum healing. I hope to write more about this. We are already doing research at our center on the epigenetic changes through meditation, through yoga, through breathing, through massage, through change in diet, through adaptogens, which are plant-based, botanical-based, herbal supplements or complements that add to a healthy lifestyle. And also periodic change in the microbiome through plant-based fibers and oils, particularly ingestible oils like olive oil, flaxseed oil, primrose oil, and sesame oil. So onward with quantum healing. The science of quantum healing is here. I'd like my critics and also those who agree to engage in the conversation around this particular video, and soon we'll be publishing the science in peer-reviewed journals as well. Thank you so much for listening.